Good evening. Yep. All right. Nice to see you all here this evening. We ran out of bulletins. I'm sorry about that, but we will announce all of the hymns and the hymn numbers. So I think we're all going to be in good shape. And so I'm so grateful that we can all be here together this evening for this Tenebrae service on this Good Friday. I invite us to sing our opening hymn, Beneath the Cross of Jesus, number 190. 190. I share with you this opening reflection, Cross by Steve Garnis Holmes. Embracing our most fearful, returning again to our anguish, the gentle one shines so bright with patient love to make the darkness a mirror. In love, entering our wound, Christ escapes our doom. Reduced to nothing becomes infinite. God going into our pain, healing coming out of it. Our shadow pierced by light, our worst and our highest possibility. God's leastness and greatness. The cruelest of us, the kindness of God. Our most senseless met by God's most incomprehensible. In our farthest abandonment, God's most intimate presence. The death of our death writhing in the crucible of love. The power of our evil to build empire and the world-destroying power of grace to make another. God's weakness, God's might, our confession, our hope. The darkest paradox is that we who draw near to the awfulness might be made more kind. that in the face of death we might be given enough life to say, Jesus, we are sorry for what we have done to you. By your grace, undo us.
The first reading is from Matthew 26, verses 20 through 25. When it was evening, he took his place with the 12 disciples, and while they were eating, he said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." And they became greatly distressed and began to say to him, one after another, "Surely not I, Lord." He answered, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to the one by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that one not to have been born." Judas, who betrayed him, said, "Surely not I, Rabbi." He replied, "You have said so." The next hymn is number 170, "When I Survey the Wondrous Cross." We'll do verses 1, 3, and 4.
Reading from the 26th chapter of Matthew, verses 30 to 35. When they had sung the hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "You will all fall away because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go ahead of you to Galilee." Peter said to him, "Even if I fall away because of you, I will never fall away." Jesus said to him, "Truly I tell you, this very night, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, "Even though I must die with you, I will not deny you." And so said all of the disciples. Please join in singing the next hymn. Oh, sorry, no hymn.
A reading from Luke chapter 22, verses 39 through 46. He came out and went, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. When he reached the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not come into the time of trial." Then he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, knelt down, and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." Then an angel from heaven appeared to him and gave him strength. In his anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down to the ground. When he got up from prayer, he came to the disciples and found them sleeping because of grief. And he said to them, "Why are you sleeping? Get up and pray that you may not come into the time of trial." Our next hymn is "Go to Dark Gethsemane," number 171, all verses.
Our fourth reading is from Mark 14, verses 43 through 64. Immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived, and with him there was a crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I will kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard." So when he came, he went up to him at once and said, "Rabbi," and kissed him. Then they laid hands on him and arrested him. But one of those who stood near drew his sword and struck the slave of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Then Jesus said to them, "Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me as though I were a rebel? Day after day I was with you in the temple teaching, and you did not arrest me. But let the scriptures be fulfilled." All of them deserted him and fled. A certain young man was following him, wearing nothing but a linen cloth. They caught hold of him but he left the linen cloth and ran off naked. They took Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests, the elders, and the scribes were assembled. Peter had followed him at a distance, right into the courtyard of the high priest, and he was sitting with the guards, warming himself at the fire. Now the chief priests and the whole council were looking for testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. For many gave false testimony against him, and their testimony did not agree. Some stood up and gave false testimony against him, saying, "We heard him say, 'I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and in 3 days I will build another, not made with hands.' But even at this point, their testimony did not agree. Then the high priest stood up before them and asked Jesus, 'Have you no answer? What is it that they testify against you?' But he was silent and did not answer. Again the high priest asked him, 'Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?' Jesus said, 'I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power and coming into the clouds of heaven.' Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, 'Why do we still need witness? You have heard his blasphemy. What is your decision?' All of them condemned him as deserving death." Our next hymn is Holy Jesus, How Hast Thou Offended? Number 193. We'll do verses 1, 2, and 4.
Reading now from Matthew chapter 27, verses 27 to 38. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the governor's headquarters, and they gathered the whole cohort around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. And after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on his head. They put a reed in his right hand and knelt before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They spat on him and took the reed and struck him on the head. After mocking him, they stripped him of the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. As they went out, they came upon a man from Cyrene named Simon. They compelled this man to carry his cross. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, they offered him wine to drink, mixed with gall. But when he tasted it, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his clothes among themselves by casting lots. Then they sat down there and kept watch over him. Over his head they put the charges against him, which read, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." Then 2 rebels were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left.
It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon, while the sun's light faded, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Then Jesus, crying out with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I command my spirit." Having this, he breathed his last. When Centurion saw what had taken place, he praised God and said, "Certainly this man was innocent." And all the crowds who had gathered there for this spectacle saw what had taken place. They returned home, beating their breasts, until his acquaintances, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance watching these things.
Please join in singing O Sacred Head Now Wounded, number 183, verses 1 and 3.
A reading from John 19, verses 38 through 42. After these things, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a disciple of Jesus, though a secret one because of his fear of the Jews, asked Pilate to let him take away the body of Jesus. Pilate gave him permission, so he came and removed his body. Nicodemus, who had at first come to Jesus by night, also came, bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, weighing about 100 pounds. They took the body of Jesus and wrapped it with the spices in linen cloths, according to the burial custom of the Jews. Now there was a garden in the place where he was crucified, and in the garden there was a new tomb in which no one had ever been laid. And so, because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there.